In the long tapestry of African history, certain figures rise so high above their contemporaries that their names echo through time. Among them, none shines more brilliantly and more controversially than Haile Selassie I, the man once hailed as a king of kings, elect of God, conquering Lion of Judah. His story is one of vision, power, betrayal, and tragedy, a tale that continues to fascinate and divide opinion decades after his death. Haile Selassie did not simply inherit power. He fought for it, outmaneuvering rivals and mastering the art of survival in a land where politics was often synonymous with bloodshed. In 1930, as Rastafarian, he ascended to the throne and was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia with a grandeur that stunned the world. For his people, he represented continuity with a dynasty that traced its roots to the biblical King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. For the outside world, he became the living face of Africa's independence in a century dominated by colonial rule. His reign marked a turning point. Ethiopia, ancient yet resistant to modernity, was thrust onto the global stage. Selassie's greatest achievement was not just internal reform, but his skill in diplomacy. It was he who made Ethiopia a founding member of the League of Nations, and later the United Nations. And when Africa cried out for unity, it was in Addis Ababa that he established the Organization of African Unity, what we know today as the African Union. Ethiopia, under Haile Selassie, became a symbol of black pride and sovereignty, inspiring freedom fighters across the continent. But power, even when wielded with brilliance, comes with shadows. The emperor's modernization drive was both a blessing and a curse. Determined to strengthen his nation, he introduced sweeping changes: schools, universities, new military training programs, and connections with foreign nations. Yet, in opening Ethiopia to the world, he unknowingly nurtured the very forces that would rise against him. Young officers, educated abroad, returned home with new political ideas. University students, once silent, became emboldened to question feudal structures. The seeds of revolution had been planted by the emperor himself. And still, he endured. During the Italian invasion of 1935, Haile Selassie became the face of resistance. His fiery speech at the League of Nations warning of fascist aggression was not only a cry for his people but a prophecy of the Second World War to come. Though exiled, he returned in triumph in 1941, restoring Ethiopian sovereignty and cementing his reputation as a global statesman. Yet time, relentless and unforgiving, eroded the emperor's grip on power. By the 1970s, Ethiopia was restless. Famine, economic stagnation, and resentment among the military converged into a storm. Haile Selassie, once untouchable, found himself increasingly isolated. His mystical aura of the divine king who could do no wrong was pierced by images of starving peasants and protests led by his own students. The soldiers he had trained and empowered now turned their weapons against him. In 1974, the unthinkable happened. The Derg, a military committee led by disillusioned officers, staged a coup and toppled the monarchy. The emperor, frail and aging, was quietly removed from his palace and placed under house arrest. To the world, it seemed a symbolic dethronement. But behind closed doors, darker realities unfolded. On the morning of August 27, 1975, Haile Selassie, the King of Kings, the conquering Lion of Judah, was killed inside his palace bedroom. The Derg claimed he had died peacefully in his sleep, but the truth was far more brutal. Reports later revealed that the emperor was strangled in his bed, his body buried secretly beneath the palace floor. The man who had once stood before kings, presidents, and parliaments was reduced to a corpse hidden away, denied the dignity of a royal burial. 4 years, his death was shrouded in silence. It was not until the fall of the Derg in the early 1990s that his remains were discovered. In 2000, Haile Selassie was finally reburied with honor, his funeral drawing Ethiopians from every walk of life: monarchists, nationalists, Rastafarians, and ordinary citizens. The legacy of Haile Selassie is complex. To some, he was a divine figure, a messiah whose teachings and image fueled the Rastafarian movement in Jamaica and beyond. To others, he was a shrewd but flawed ruler whose stubbornness and missteps led Ethiopia into chaos. Yet none can deny that he embodied an era of African pride, independence, and resilience against foreign domination. History rarely deals in absolutes. Haile Selassie was both a visionary reformer and an autocrat, a savior and a man whose own policies paved the way for his fall. His life reminds us that even kings of kings are mortal, and that the same forces that lift a man to greatness can just as easily bring him to ruin. But still, his name endures. Haile Selassie I remains not just a chapter in Ethiopia's past, but a symbol in the global struggle for dignity, sovereignty, and self-determination. His rise was extraordinary, his fall tragic, but his legacy is eternal. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history and want to uncover more incredible stories like this, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next documentary. Which part of Haile Selassie's story shocked you the most? His rise to power or the mystery of his death? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you're hungry for more untold histories, check out the playlist right here on the screen. You won't want to miss it.